Alright, addicts, check this out. We have the guys from CrashKill Six here. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going? We're good, man.
Cool. Who do we have with us tonight?
We got Brent Moore in the band, guitars, backing vocals.
And DM Carper, also known as Paul Bawa, for drums.
Cool. And our other member, Jason James, who plays bass and does vocals, will be joining us at any moment's notice as he's driving here as fast as he can. He just got off work just to
go. Cool. Now,
hopefully he won't flip his Lamborghini.
Tell us a little bit about CrashKill Six, man. How long have you guys known each other? When did you guys first meet?
Yeah, man, that's an interesting story. Okay, so I moved to the Austin area probably about 2 years ago, and I came from Phoenix. I lived and grew up in Phoenix and came out of the metal scene there, and moved out here and was itching to get going as far as finding bands and playing and stuff. And I didn't know a soul. I didn't know who to talk to, where to go. So you do the typical route. You go on Craigslist and went on there and started looking around. Didn't really find anything that kind of struck me as something I'd be interested in. And then out of nowhere, I found this ad for this vocalist who wanted to do like a rap rock thing, which I know at first I read it and I went, I don't know rap rock. But I got it a little bit more and went, well, the last band I was in Phoenix, people categorized us as that, even though we weren't that. Our vocalist wasn't really a screamer or singer. He was kind of like in the middle, so he kind of rapped a little bit in his style. So people kind of pigeonholed us like that, even though we weren't anything close to something like that. So I was like, well, let's figure this out. Well, maybe this guy's being more heavy-handed with his definition. So I called him up, and he's like, yeah, man, I don't have a bass player and a drummer. Do you know anybody? I was like, bro, I just moved here 3 months ago. I don't know anybody. And so he goes, okay, well, we'll figure something out. I said, all right, cool. So I shit you not, the guy called me not even 2 days later, and he's like, yeah, I got a drummer and a bass player on the hook. I was like, what? 2 days later, you already got somebody? And he's like, yeah, they want to meet. You bring your gear. So I'm like, all right. So I brought my gear down, and it turns out the bass player was Jason, and we had a different drummer at the time. His name was Butch. And the three of us just gelled really well. And the vocalist, not so much with the rest of us. So it was kind of interesting that the three of us musically gelled, and even personality-wise, we gelled. And the more we got to playing, the more we were hearing what this guy was doing vocally, and we all kind of went, yeah, we got to 86 this dude. His name was Mike. I forget his last name, but his name was Mike. And so it was kind of funny because Jason called him up, and he was nervous about kicking him out because, anybody that's been in a band can attest, kicking somebody out is always bad because either they're going to be completely cool with it and be like, yeah, dude, it wasn't really working out, or they're just like...
Especially when that dude started the band, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy... each other.
Like Jack Black says, how can you kick me out? What is mine?
So Jason called this guy, and he's like, yeah, man, just the three of us are gelling, and we're just not feeling what you got going on, so we're going to move on with something else. And the guy was like, yeah, okay, cool, that's fine. And he went back to doing his acoustic project. So Jason and I just kind of hooked up, and we started working on some material, and we couldn't find a vocalist for forever, man. For some reason, when you're in a metal band or a hard rock band or, a good heavy groove band, finding the right vocalist is almost impossible out here for some reason. And we tried out a bunch of guys, and they just didn't really seem to know what to do with what we were writing. And out of nowhere, Jason just goes, I'm going to front the band. And I said, okay. I just took it at faith. I'm like, well, I've never heard him sing. I don't know what he's going to sound like. I'm like, all right, dude, you want to front the band? Let's do it. That'll save us time. And at the same time, we found our drummer who had played with us for, a good year and a half. And we just went from there. And Jason said, well, let's find a bass player. And we found a bass player who kind of helped piggyback us a little bit because Jason had never been a frontman at the time.
He was playing bass in a couple other bands, and he'd been on the road a little bit with bands like Spinning Chain and who else?
He was in a band called Ember and a couple of the bands that were pretty big out in Central Texas for a long time here in Central Texas. So it was a real leap of faith to get him on vocals. And, fast forward, we went back to being a three-piece because he got comfortable being able to sing. And he's just progressed, and now everything he's doing now is a lot better than when he started. And we eventually parted ways with our last drummer, and now Paul's in the band, and we're just looking forward to just moving forward and writing and making new stuff going into 2013 and doing a ton of shows and trying to stay up on our connections to get us to bigger, better shows and stay in the scene and stay hungry.
Cool, guys. Now, how'd you come up with the name CrashKill Six?
The name it's an interesting story. Back when I was in Phoenix, I was in a band called Corruption in the mid-'90s. We were a real heavy thrash band, and that eventually turned into 12-Ton Sledge. But when we were picking out names, I remember my drummer came into the room, and he threw out the name. He goes, "Look at this headline in this newspaper, CrashKill Six." And I was like, "Dude, that could be a cool band name." And he goes, "Yeah, I think so too." But all the rest of the guys in the band were like, "Oh, no, fuck that. We're not using that." It always stuck in the back of my head, like, hey, that could be a cool band name. And fast forward to getting out here and meeting Jason and whatnot, nobody between the three of us really had any strong standout names. And I just went home and went, F this. I'm going to write up as many things as I can think of and put down.
I think Butt Plug was a strong contender.
That was a strong contender. This Comes and the Rectal Nectar 5 was real good. But when it came down to it, I mean, I had a list of like 20 names. Some were really bad and some were, I thought really good. But out of all the names, the other guys thought CrashKill 6 was the strongest. And then Jason goes, well, let's chop off the S on kills and combine crash and kill into one word, make them both capitalized, and then just make it CrashKill 6. And we're like, yeah, let's roll with that.
Cool.
So it's different. It stands out, So that's just kind of how it went from there. And
the thing about the band is that there's only 3 people in the band.
Yeah, so people see 6. Where's the other 3 guys?
Each one of us rocks
twice as hard as the other guy. That's right.
Cool. Now,
double the heaviness.
Sweet. Now, tell us about the songwriting. Now, do you guys? Is it a one-person effort? Is it a group effort?
It's usually a group. I mean, well, it kind of starts with one guy, but then it turns into a group thing. I mean, all it takes is a spark of one person come up with an idea, and then the other people to just kind of roll with it. Like if Paul's breaking out a drum beat and something sparks inside of me to like try to come up with a riff that might match what he's doing, that could spark something. Or I could just be noodling around, and next thing you know, Jason and Paul all kind of see it, and they like it, and they start coming up with stuff. And then we just kind of hash it out from there. We go, okay, well, this could sound like a verse, or maybe this sounds like a verse. Okay, well, we've got a part here. Let's come up with some other part. Let's lay a foundation, and let's kind of work on it until we come up with more parts. And then when we think we've got like a real solid foundation for a song, then we'll start picking it apart. Like, hey, how can we enhance this part? How can we add more here? Maybe we should take away from this part. Do we have any lyrics for it yet? No, we don't. Okay, well, if we do, what do we want to do? And that's just kind of the creative process. It just really steamrolls from there because, that's how it all works. It just starts with that one spark, and next thing you know, by the end of the practice, you've got pretty much a whole song in form, and you just work it from there. So,
cool. Now, how would you guys describe your music to people?
Yeah, that's always good. How do we describe ourselves?
Well, when I first heard these guys, when I was first looking to jam with them, I heard that I kind of thought that they sounded a little bit like, kind of like Pantera meets Corrosion of Conformity, something like that. They have those kind of growly vocals, real heavy, crunchy guitars. It's not thrash, it's not screamo, it's not death metal. It's just like real good, hard rock and roll, kind of groove metal. Yeah, how I would describe it.
Yeah, it's definitely
kind of crossover. Since I joined the band, I have a real big progressive rock background, so it's kind of getting more crossover as time goes on.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it's always been tough because we have so many different influences. I come from an '80s metal background where it started with Van Halen and then eventually all the guitar heroes of the middle and late '80s. Van Halen and George Lynch and Steve Vai and Satriani and then that morphed into the heavy stuff, Metallica and Slayer and Anthrax.
You can hear Van Halen influences because every time we start practicing, man, he has to play Panama. We have to play
We play You're a fan. We don't play Panama. We play. Dude, don't be gay.
Well, without the keyboard, it sounds kind of weird, but
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
No, but it just morphed, and then I got real big into Rush and Maiden, and I started getting into more progressive stuff. Eventually, Dream Theater came out, and I was real big on them. But then, like now, I'm finding myself listening to like Animals as Leaders and Mastodon and Baroness, and those metal bands that drew from the '70s prog influences, and they're just taking music and going crazy with it. And I'm finding a real strong connection with that because it really feels organic. Life is organic and music is organic in itself. So
and some weed is organic.
Yeah, weed is generally. That's correct. Yeah, and so's other drugs, but we won't discuss those. But that's kind of where I come from. I know Paul comes from probably not that dissimilar background, but he can elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think that back in I was a real big '80s fan. 80s metal fan. That continues to this day, but in the 90s I got really way into prog, Dream Theater, Fate's Warning, even some of the Queensryche stuff that was out then. Didn't really get into so much the new metal stuff, Limp Bizkit and all that kind of crap.
I did.
But,
if it grooved, I was into it.
Well, yeah. I was kind of like a snob, though, musically. Rush, Maiden, Dream Theater, Queensryche, Fate's Warning. Well, yeah, but lately I've been really influenced by Queens of the Stone Age. Dave Grohl, he's sick, and for just being like a real hard, tough rock drummer who doesn't do too much flashy stuff. But yeah, Mastodon, Mars Volta, Muse, those the 3Ms, that kind of stuff.
The 3Ms.
The 3Ms. Mars Volta, Mastodon, and Muse.
I thought you were going to say masticating, masturbating, and I don't know the other one. There could be another one. Let's make up a word.
Yeah.
Now,
Billy, we can make up. Oh, and metal. That's right.
metal. Yeah.
That's it.
Now, you guys played a lot of live shows. What would you say are the best and the worst things about playing live gigs?
The best and the worst?
Yes.
Man, well,
Best thing is for me is just like getting out there and knowing that you get the opportunity to reach some new folks.
Yep.
And if they're playing the best you can, sometimes things are out of your control, like the mix sometimes, and how many shots of Jameson you've had previous to the stuff can all affect your performance. But yeah, the best thing for me personally is just getting up there and getting the chance to show people that hard rock in the style that CrashKill Six does is a viable form of music right now, and every time we play out, man, we got a couple of folks who come up to us and say, yeah, you guys are one of the better metal bands we've heard, all different kinds of compliments. We get that we're more quote unquote real, because none of us are like prima donnas or anything like that, except for Brent. He can kind of be a little bit of a little fake, but
I'm a total asshole.
yeah. That's the
Don't
best. Getting up
gigs, I
there,
won't talk
man,
to
the
you.
adrenaline rush.
Yeah, I mean, you forgot about the part where your night depends on how much coke you're snorting off a hooker. Oh, that's after the gig?
That can either be good or
well,
bad.
that's my problem. I've always been doing it before the gig.
Oh, shit. Well, maybe you should switch to female hookers.
Yeah, I should probably do. I think the best thing about gigs, man, is just getting off on the fact that what you're producing is really making other people emote something, whether it's joy or pain or you're bringing a feeling out of somebody and you're making that connection with somebody else through music. And I think for me, I get off on that a lot. Like if I know that we've got a song and I can look at it while we're playing it and I see people getting into it and they're really digging it, you just know you're affecting them. And that to me is the best thing about playing live. I mean, that's really the bottom line is you're bringing something to somebody that you've made a connection with them. And all bullshitting aside, whether you're a really good musician or not, I think you can completely suck and still make a connection with somebody in some way. And that's what it really is all about, is you're sharing this creative outlet with somebody else and they're getting off on it with you. And I think the worst thing about gigs is the business side of it, not getting paid or, gear problems or, the stuff that makes it harder to make that connection. That for me anyways, but I usually just when we're done with the show, if everybody dig it and had a good time and they're giving you a pat on the back and they really like what you're doing and they're helping supporting you by buying your CD and your shirts and everything else, that just makes it all that much better.
Selling merch is always good.
Yeah,
it's a real high energy, and it's a heavy show, but it's musical as well. We're just a 3-piece. We may end up staying that way, but regardless, there's something about being a power trio that appeals to me. Being a fan of bands like Rush and even Triumph and
Corrosion of Conformity,
CFC, stuff like that. So keeping it heavy with just the 3 of us, man, that is it's real good. We don't have a 4th person to get in the mix and muddy it up, so to speak. We just haven't found the right person yet. We've tried some people out, but we haven't really found the right person yet. So we're staying at 3 pieces.
Yeah, Taz was really interested in playing bass, but
yeah, he was.
Where is Taz? What happened to that guy?
Oh, health problems. He's been in and out of the hospital.
Man, I hope he's okay. Is he all right?
Yeah, he's doing better.
He'll be back in action as soon as he's able?
Yes, absolutely.
Good man, he's a good guy.
Hoisting the beard.
I'd hoist a beer too, but mine's empty because I drank it. That's a beer, you drink it.
Ring the bell.
Beer, please. Oh, she can't hear me. She's in the house.
Now, the first song I want to play is I Defy. What can you tell us about that tune?
Nice. No, that's the new mix, right?
Yes, the one you just sent.
Yeah, it's the new mix. Well, it's interesting. Like, we wrote the song. I'm actually going to let out a little secret that probably a lot of people don't know about this song is the main riff that starts out the song and the chorus riff I wrote in 95. That and the rest of the song, and I always liked it, and I thought, well, maybe we can modernize it in some way.
Dude, you're dating yourself.
Well, I'm a sexy bitch. I will date myself at all times.
You date yourself as much as you can, right?
That's right. So we pieced the song together, and it was just interesting. Like when we come up with the song and we got all the parts together, the chorus, the way the chorus worked, it just popped in my head. I defy, and I told the guys, hey, we should call the song I Defy. And I was doing the chorus and practice the way I was thinking it. And then Jason just started writing the lyrics about, and he can elaborate more. You can ask him when he gets here. But I think the general idea was, look, you're dealing with a relationship of certain people, and they think that they know you in some way, and they think they can pigeonhole you, or they can get you under their thumb, but it's wrong. It's not the right stuff. So you're defying them in some way. You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to put your thumbs out, put your nose out in some way to flip them off, so to speak. And that's just kind of in a nutshell where it came from. But I'm sure that Jason, when he rolls in here, hopefully he's got copious amounts of alcohol and other illicit commitments for being late. Hopefully you can ask him again when he gets here, and he can be able to tell you more on the lyrics.
Cool. All right, addicts, check this out. This is I Defy from CrashKill 6, and we'll be right back.
Stay
All right, addicts, we are back with CrashKill 6. Guys, how you doing?
We're good, man. We're good. I hope you guys dug that track.
Cool. Now, when did you guys first start playing? And when did you guys know that this is what you wanted to do for a living?
Oh, shit.
Well, that's an interesting question because I don't think that we're actually doing this for a living yet. I think the fire still burns in all of us to get to that point where we are doing this for a living. But for me, it was interesting because I had always kind of dabbled in music, even when I was a little kid, picking up instruments from neighbors' houses and plucking around on them and doing whatever. And I think for me, it was picking up music mags and seeing these rock stars or whoever else looking like they were just having so much fun doing what they were doing. I thought, well, man, if these guys are having a blast doing this, they're actually making money or a living at this, maybe I should look into this. It's kind of steamrolled from there. I mean, it started with my Guitar Heroes, and then I saw Anthrax on their videos and thought, man, these guys look like they're having so much fun as a band. Maybe I should be in a band. And then that steamrolled into seeing all these other bands play and going to see a live show, not necessarily on a live a national level, but going to see it at a local level, I think is what turned me on to the whole process of trying to do this, because when you're at a local level, you're so hungry and you're so driven, and there's so much more energy put into the show and so much blood, sweat, and tears put into it because it's so hard to make it into a national scene. I think that just attracted me in a way that I think if I'd only seen national acts, it probably wouldn't have fazed me as much. That's kind of where it came from me.
Yeah, as far as I go, this is Paul, drummer, by the way. My dad was a singer and a guitar player for about 40 years, and he was a professional musician, and he raised 5 kids doing it. And he's down there in Houston, actually. He's given it up since, but we were always raised. We were raised in a house where there was always music, whether it was him learning new tunes or having people over, and they would always bust out the guitars and have sing-alongs and stuff like that. So I was introduced to that, early rock and roll, and then later on outlaw country and stuff like that. My dad was more of like a crooner, though, towards the end, Neil Diamond and Ray Price and that kind of stuff. But I think that I got the musical gene from him. And out of 5 kids, I'm the one that has taken it the furthest, which is to say, I've just kept on chipping away at the stone.
I think it's
man.
the fire that burns in your stomach.
Yeah. In fact, I just got to take a shit. That's all that is. Yeah, but I think that I got into, my first real musical love was like Elvis, and then I got into the Beatles and stuff like that. And then when we moved to Houston in the 80s, I got into, the new wave of British heavy metal, and, Judas Priest, Def Leppard, and some of the older stuff like Slade and that kind of stuff. And then I went on to White Riot, Scorpions, all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like a rebellion thing for me, too, because I knew my dad hated it, which made me like it even more. Over time, I just started playing drums when I was 13, man, and I had that natural touch, and I just kept on going, took some lessons here and there, mostly self-taught, but I did take some lessons, which I definitely recommend to anybody who's out there listening and wanting to pick up an instrument. You can learn on your own, but take some lessons.
You know what's funny for me is when I was first learning guitar, it was interesting. My parents, the guy that actually got me interested in guitar over drums was not just the 80s metal, Guitar Heroes, but I had this friend, and he passed away in 2001 from lupus, and I saw him play guitar, and he made it look so easy and so effortless that I was like, well, man, if he can pick that thing up and it's that easy. Now, of course, it's really not an easy instrument by any stretch. Right. I couldn't sit here and say, well, drums are easy, Paul, because that's just complete bullshit, because drums are, to be at a level of playing, to hear those elite drummers play, they spent time practicing. But in terms of guitar playing and stuff, I thought he made it look so easy. Curtis made it look so easy that I was just like, well, man, I could pick that up, and maybe I should do that. And I remember I was going on my 13th birthday, and my parents were asking me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said I want a guitar. Now, of course, my parents were like, oh boy, okay, well, we got to deter him from this life sin of being a musician, and he can't be debaucherous by learning the devil's music and all that. And
I went through that too.
Yeah, so my dad says, I don't have a problem with you getting a guitar, but you're going to have to take lessons. And he thought like that would be a deterrent, like, well, my kid's not going to put up with that shit. He doesn't have patience for anything, right? Well, they were completely wrong. I took the lessons. I'm like, yeah, I'll take lessons. And I got lucky because the guy I had was like, hey, you're going to learn chords, but you're also going to learn melodies. You're also going to learn the notes on the guitar.
It's too bad none of that stuff really stuck with you.
Yeah, I know. My pants at this point. The people always, guitar players, a lot of guys get started where they just learn how to be a good rhythm player and they never really learn leads. Some guys, they only learn leads and they suck at rhythm. And I got lucky, and I'll even say I got blessed. I started with both. So it got me on the right path to understand rhythm, and it got me on the path to understand the fretboard and the notes. And it was pretty interesting that they thought lessons would deter me, and I did. I got a guitar for my 13th birthday, and I started from there, and that sent me on that crazy road, and just trying to absorb as much as I could, because I grew up in a house where my parents would not let me or my sisters listen to any quote-unquote secular music of any kind. So I really didn't get a start in rock or metal or anything until like 83, 84. And I was already, 12 and 13 at that point. Where most guys, they tell me, well, I've been listening to like all these bands when I was 5 and 6 years old. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that luxury. I started late, but man, I made up for it. I absorbed everything I could get my hands on. And I tried to learn everything I could. Oh, Metallica's, got an album. I'm going to learn every song I can and try to learn it. I tried to sit there and pick it out. Like, I wouldn't get books. Like, most guys would get books. I sat there and, like, used the CDs, tuned my guitar as close to the tuning as I could, and tried to pick out the notes and try to learn their songs by my ear.
That's an education.
And that was, itself, dude, that was night and day. Like, if I could tell that my chord wasn't quite right, I would just get pissed and be like, there's a note in there I'm missing. I know it. I'd have to sit there. I'd spend hours trying to figure out what I'm missing until I got it, right? And that just kind of, it's a good basis to start, because you can when you learn how other people play and you learn their licks and their chops, it actually helps you become a more player, because you can steal some of those licks, twist them up a little bit to be your own, and put your own times, put your own signature on them. Just like, with drummers, they can steal this drum riff or this, thing with a guy does with his hands and incorporate, or even with his feet, and incorporate it in such a way that's not part of your style.
That's what I was going to say, man. You listen. If you're self-taught, man, you find out the musicians that you like, and you try to emulate them to the best of your ability, and before long, you start to develop your own style, and it's just from stealing from everybody and combining it into your own style. So any given moment, I can play something as simple as a Marilyn Manson beat, or I can play something that's more of a prog, double bass, 16th note, whatever, the music calls for. But it's having that in your bag of tricks and learning from everybody, and just knowing what you like and what you want to sound like. And so, everybody from freaking Tommy Lee to Mike Portnoy and now Brand Daler and Danny Carey from Mastodon.
Oh,
Brand Daler, Mastodon, Danny Carey from Tool, of course. Those are some of the heavy hitters and Dave Grohl, of course. And there's always something about these guys that may have different things in their arsenal. You like something about it, you steal it, make it your own. Nobody's going to call you out on it and say, "Oh man, you're trying to be like this person." If you steal from a bunch of sources.
I've had a couple people go, you did that riff, that sounds just like this riff. It's like, I don't even know that band. I don't even know that group. What are you talking about?
Now, how about the first song you guys can remember learning to play.
Hey, I'm sorry. Say that again.
The first song you can remember learning to play.
Oh shit, dude! I got to dig into the archives for that one.
I think the very first song was probably either Dio or Quiet Riot or Motley Crue. You know, Holy Diver was a big one.
That's so
Holy
hard for
Diver
me.
was probably one of the first ones to learn how to play. And then as far as double bass goes, I think Tommy Lee on Shout at the Devil, Looks Like Kill, Livewire, and even on Theater of Pain, you know, Use It or Lose It is a badass double bass song.
I'm in a tough spot on that because I was taking lessons, so I had to learn some classical stuff and some standard folk music and some other things. But when it comes to rock and roll and metal in general, I think I had a guitar teacher that he had a tape recorder.
Did he
actually parts? He did touch me in my private parts, and we made awesome.
It's Catholic musicians, man.
Yeah. He had this tape. He was the only guy I ever knew who had this tape player. So, and when I say tapes, this is like really going back where cassettes were king. You could take this player, and he had a thing on it that would play it at half speed, which would cause everything on it to sound an octave lower and slower. So he could sit there and pick out the notes easier. And when I knew he could do that, I was like, I have to learn Ice Cream Man by Van Halen. I have to learn it. And I think that was I learned the rhythms because it was just a standard blues riff. But I think the first lead I actually attempted to learn, and maybe not necessarily on my own, but with a little bit of help, was that song, was Ice Cream Man by Van Halen. And then that steamrolled into anything Eddie Van Halen did for the longest time. It was so stupid because everybody was like, dude, you're sounding too much like Eddie. And I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, yes, you are. And I was like, all right, fine, fuck you guys. I'll start learning other players. And I started, that's when I really got into Metallica. I started learning some other guys. Yeah, I think that was actually the first one I really had to sit down and try to learn. And then once I got good enough to kind of know what I was doing, I took on learning La Via Strangiato by ear, by Rush.
And that was a fucking disaster.
And man, I as I could. And what's interesting is I watched a video of them playing it live years later, and Alex was playing his notes obviously where he plays them, but then I come to realize like the way I learned it was in a totally different frame of where the guitar was, same notes but just in a totally different spot. So it just kind of blew me away to think, wow, I picked all these notes and it's not even where this dude's playing it. Like for some reason that just freaked me out. Like, well, wait a minute, this sounds exactly like what he's doing, and then come to find out that he wasn't playing it in that spot. He was playing it in some other spot, and
there are many frets on the guitar.
There are on the guitar, and I completely forgot about that shit when I was watching the video.
Fortunately, I don't have that problem.
No.
He's either the snare, the kick, a high tom, a low tom.
They just hit shit.
Yeah.
Anybody can hit shit.
That's true. It's when you hit it.
Yeah, that's
My
right.
wife will attest to that.
Out here, she does pottery, and she's out here firing up her kiln. So
Yeah.
we're harassing her.
She's getting potted.
That's right. The old school. Weed. No.
So now, who would you guys say your musical influences are?
Music.
You go first. Top 5, let's say.
Oh God. That's so hard to say because man, whatever I listen to, I'm trying to absorb it. I'm trying to.
Brent doesn't have that many influences, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. I don't.
His biggest influences.
I am influenced by no man.
Thinking about it, I'll go ahead and
Yeah,
put this out. Top 5, man. Top 5. Neil, Alex, Dave, Mike, and last but not least, that fucking guy from Aha.
Aha. I'm not going to go people. I think I'm going to go bands on this because, and the reason I say that is I'm not always listening to just the guitar player. I'm listening. What's strange is I listen most to the drums in bands. more than I listen to the vocalist and the bass player and even the guitar player. I will always listen to the drums more than anything else. And I think that's just the natural metronome inside me that wants to listen to that. And there's like this natural thing to draw yourself to drums. And I would say the top 5 groups I'm probably listening to now that I would probably draw from would be Megadeth, Foo Fighters. I would say Baroness, Corrosion and Conformity. That album they just put out this last year was just kick ass. Boy, Seven Dust is a good one, but I'm really feeling Carnival a lot. Carnival is a band out of Australia that, holy cow,
They break up?
Who?
Carnival, they break up?
No, they're around.
Yeah, they're badass.
They're amazing. They're not like a metal act. They're more of a hard rock act, but their rhythm section is just unreal. They'll write riffs what you think is in a standard time, and the drummer comes in and he's in this completely different time signature, and it's like, where is this coming from? And they've got a lot of soundscapes and stuff like that. I'm really been getting into them lately, and I'm trying to think. There's another. Slayer's always good. I'll never stop listening to Slayer. But I think those are probably my top ones right now at the moment, where I could just pick it up and go, yeah, I'm digging this song. I'm digging what they're doing. I could listen to them all day and all night. And then I'm trying to think if there's any others that I got in my player that. A band that my buddy turned me on to is a band called Intronaut. I don't know if anybody's heard of those guys out there, but they're very similar to Baroness and Mastodon, only probably darker and moodier, but same kind of vibe, and it's real good stuff.
Cool. Now, when you guys aren't writing, playing shows, or doing stuff with the band, what do you guys do for a day off? What do you enjoy doing?
I really enjoy sleeping. I know people say you can sleep when you're dead, but the fact is, when you're dead, you don't know you're sleeping. Wake up and say, yeah, I just got fucking slept. Yeah, sleeping is good. Also, man, watching movies. My wife and I are totally into horror movies. We love getting on Netflix, checking out the grossest or the most intense horror movies out there. We try to get out there and hit the road with the dogs and, just kind of keep in shape a little bit, too. So exercise is a good thing, especially when you're getting up in years and, you can't really walk, What are you doing? Sorry, man. She's dancing.
She's over here
dancing
making
right now. Yeah. Oh, you're having sex? Oh, yeah, sex.
Sex?
Butt sex.
Hey.
Yes. Yes. It's butt sex or no sex.
Only if it's forced.
Yeah, but we just
now.
hang out, man. Do the family thing a lot. We like to cook out in the backyard and stuff like that. Have people over, talk music, and just the hang.
I never really get a chance to breathe outside of the band from working, and I'll say it. I got a wife and kids, so it's so frowned upon to be in rock and metal and.
But when he's on the road, he does not.
When I'm on the road, I don't have a family at all.
No.
What are those? Here, let me leave my wedding ring at home. No, that's kidding. But yeah, I mean, my time off is usually spent just learning things. I have this constant thirst for knowledge, to learn things, and so if I find something interesting on the web, I'll read about it. Whether it's space exploration and NASA to archaeological kind of stuff, or historical things, or obviously music, gear. I'm big on reading up on gear and knowing how it works, what it is, what to do with it. And then sometimes I'll get the kids, I'll get my daughters, and I'll take them down to Guitar Center and let them make a lot of noise and piss everybody off, and that's always fun for me because, for one thing, I really like the fact that they're getting that taste, right? I would never want to dissuade my kids from learning music, learning how to play an instrument or anything of that nature, because music is a science and a math. And so, if you go back hundreds of thousands of years, the Greeks considered it to be one of the sciences. music was, and it is derived from science. There is some theory behind it in terms of math and science. So it's a proven fact that kids that study music or study an instrument do better in school than kids that don't. And I'm a real big proponent upon music in schools. So there's a couple of groups on Facebook that I'm kind of involved in about keeping music in schools. So if anybody's listening out there and you've got groups and communities, or not groups and communities, but there's groups in your community that are proponents of keeping music in schools, please be involved with them, because without music, the whole world's going to come to a stop, because it's such an emotional connection to yourself and everybody else, and it's such a strong science that it really does lend itself to continue in that direction.
And that's why you should vote for Brent Moore for musical city commissioner.
Yeah, right.
He's right.
I'm going to shove a flute up your ass.
Make some good sounds, probably.
I just got a text from Jason. They finally found their car keys. They're on their way.
Oh my gosh.
That was he said that, so he's here. Sean needs your address.
You sent it to him.
Oh, you did?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now,
sorry, that was.
What would you say is your biggest rock star moment?
Oh man,
my biggest rock star moment. Well, that would be when, not in this band, but I played with a local band called She Craves a couple of years ago, and they were kind of like a cross between, I'd say, Pat Benatar meets Green Day, if you can imagine that. Female singer, bass, guitar, and then me. We played down in Laredo, and those people down there, man, they're a star for good rock and roll, and they gave us, man, we had table service, we had, illicit stuff going on, and it was partying like a rock star down on the border. So that would have been mine. Table service and Mexican cuties.
Rock star moment for me. Well, that's a tough one to think out. I got an interesting anecdote that wasn't necessarily. It is sort of a rock star moment, but sort of not. Back when I was in Phoenix, and I was in the. I think I was in 12 Ton at the time, 12 Ton Sledge. We went to me and the drummer and my bass player. No, it was all four of us in the band. We decided to hit an Olive Garden to get some dinner before we went to this rock show. I know, very metal. Olive Garden is the most metalist of restaurants. We went to something to eat, and I
the official color of metal is not black anymore; it's olive.
It's olive, yeah. I had my classical guitar on me because I was studying that at the time, and I had a case, and I had to put it on the side of the table and whatnot. And apparently, in the mid '90s, there was a band called Pennywise. They were considered a punk rock band, and they were they were okay, but I guess I looked just like their bass player at the time. And we see these kids getting squirrely at this table, and they finally, they asked the waitress to come talk to us, and she comes over and she goes, "Hey, are you guys in the band Pennywise?" And we're like, "What? No, but we are a band." "Well, those kids over there think you're in Pennywise." We're like, "Yeah, no, it's not us." And so that was sort of a rock star moment, even though we weren't really rock stars at any time.
Rock star moment.
Yeah, it was the faux rock star moment.
Like, kind of like. I went to ACL a couple years back and saw Muse. They took the White Stripe spot because Meg White was having her monthlies, so they had to bump the show, and so Muse took the head spot. But anyway, badass show. I got a Muse t-shirt. I'm hanging out at this club down on 7th Street after the thing, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "You guys are really good." T-shirt, so she assumed that because I'm wearing a Muse t-shirt, I'm in the band.
You were Muse.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I always like it when we do gigs and we're not even playing and we're hanging out with fans and you're just hanging out and somebody goes, "Dude, you were great tonight." It's like, bro, I wasn't even playing tonight. I'm just drinking beers and hanging. I think the most rock star moment for me was probably about 96 or 7 back in Phoenix, and 12 Ton had made some inroads. We were getting a pretty good crowd response, but some of us, I don't know how familiar you are with a band called Flotsam and Jetsam out of
yeah,
Phoenix.
yeah.
Yeah, great band. And I got to know some of those guys. And I was hanging out with, let's see, this was back when Megadeth was doing the Cryptic Writings album. So this was about 95, maybe? 96? Somewhere in there, 96 maybe. And I remember at the time, we were at this house party. And three of the guys from Flot showed up, and I said hey to the guys. Well, they had Nick Menza with them, from Megadeth, their drummer. Now, Nick was kind of being low-key. He was just kind of blending with the crowd, and nobody was really saying anything about it. But I knew the guys from Flots. I knew Jason, their bass player, and I knew the guitar player at the time, and I'm forgetting his name now. But so we're hanging out, and they had a house band kind of playing this house party. And we went inside and we're hanging out, and so of course, so you got Nick and you got Jason and you got one of the guitar players from Flots hanging out at this party, and they walk into the band is pretty much on a break, and they all wanted to play, and they were like, "Hey, dude, you want to play with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." But the band was all for it except for the drummer. The drummer of that band was afraid to let Nick Menza play because he was afraid his stuff would get broken. And Nick was like, "Wait a minute. You won't let me play because you're afraid I'm going to break your stuff. As if I can't pay for that." I mean, here's Megadeth selling millions of albums. Of course, he's got the money to replace it. But everybody was begging to let these guys play, and it just didn't happen because the one drummer was scared to death about his drums getting beat up. And for me, it was a real thrill to be like, wow, I'm going to actually get to play with Nick and the guys from Flots and jam and play some covers and just make it happen. And long story short, it just didn't happen. So that was kind of fun. But we were all, that party was crazy. Everybody got just annihilatedly drunk and high and 5:30 in the morning, and yeah, it was crazy.
Cool. Now,
just rolled in, Billy.
Pardon me?
Just Nick Menza. Nick Menza just walked in. No, Jason just showed up.
Jason. Hey, man. How's it going?
Sorry, man, for being late, dude.
Oh, no problem, man.
Busy-ass day here in Texas.
Do you want me to make drinks for you?
Cool. Well, you know what, Jason? I'll ask you some of the questions I asked the guys earlier. When did you first start playing, man? And when did you know that this is what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
There you go. Ask him again. He's got to scoot closer to the computer.
All right, can you repeat the question? Sorry, man.
Sure, man. I said, when did you first start playing, and when did you know that this is what you wanted to do for a living?
Oh, man, I was pretty young. Probably like 8 or 9 years old. Me and some guys that I grew up with in the same neighborhood kind of all played instruments at one time. And I don't know, this was like late 80s, I guess. So at that time, like, that's when Metallica's first couple albums came out. Kind of like Injustice for All time. And then I started listening to, Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden I was really into. And then I was into some of the hair bands too, like Motley Crue and Dokken and Queensryche and all these bands. So I just, at the very beginning when I first started playing, I have a musical family that I've grown up, been around music kind of my whole life. So I've always known I wanted to do. I was never like one of those traditional people that ever, thought about going to college and getting the job and doing this and, kind of being that kind of person. I've always veered towards music, and there was a time that I stopped playing for a few years, and it kind of like detoured a lot of my life, and it really didn't feel like I was in the right spot. But once I got back into music, it took a little while for me to get back to where I'm at now. And, I met Brent a couple years ago, and since me and Brent have been doing this project, it finally feels like home, like with a band. And
it's because I won't let him quit.
And he keeps on me, man. So we struggled a lot, and we had a hard time with the drummer in the beginning, and then we got Hog, the guy that's on the music now, and he lasted for us for a while, and then he had to go, and then we had a hard time finding a drummer again, and then we were
found Paul.
Lucky enough to find Paul because Paul's been
Paul flew
really
in our
good
window like
for
an
us.
angel.
So yeah, man. So I've been wanting to do this man, all my life I've been trying and trying and trying and playing.
I think we all have,
And
man.
I've done everything, man. I started playing country music at one point because it paid very good money. So I've done it all, man. And I've been, I've kind of been around the block for a while. So
I cannot give into the dark
it's
stuff.
been pretty good. I can't give in.
Cool. Cool. Now, how about the first song you can remember learning to play?
First song learning to play was probably Trooper from Iron Maiden.
Oh, nice. Good one.
Yeah, that was that and like Crazy Train. And that's because my cousin was a really amazing guitar player. So that was the stuff that he was playing. He was about 3 years older than I was, and his band was playing all that stuff. They were playing a lot of like Van Halen and all that kind of crazy guitar stuff. So he showed me a lot of the things in the very beginning on what to play, and he's probably one of the main reasons why I'm playing. So I used to sit there as a kid listening to like just that are jamming out and having that that live room feel. So that's kind of what gave me that feeling of wanting to be around that type of music again, or being around the musicians and living that live atmosphere. So that's a big reason why I do what I do. But yeah, Trooper and Crazy Train were the first two songs I probably liked.
How bad is it the fact that nobody in this whole process has said we got into music because of chicks?
That goes without
Well,
saying.
I'm not gonna lie though. At that time, Motley Crue was banging everything and everybody, and that's really the reason why I wanted to be in it. That's when rock stars were really rock stars at that time.
Yeah, right?
In the 80s, man.
I got into music because I was a very angry kid, and I'm still angry.
Now, who would you say your musical influences are?
That's the question you haven't answered yet.
I've never answered this.
Billy is re-interviewing the interview.
Man, I've listened to so much stuff, dude. From my parents listened to a lot of like R&B and old soul music. My brothers grew up in the later 70s when I was actually born. There was a huge gap between me and my oldest brother, who was pretty much around me most of the time, and I learned a lot from him. And at that time, man, I was listening to like Black Sabbath, Thin Lizzy, Kiss.
We need to cover some Sabbath.
Just all kind of stuff like
BGs
that.
and-
So I listened to a lot of that, and I was lucky enough that I had a good, well-rounded influence of music, because my dad listened to a lot of like Latin style stuff, and he listened to a lot of blues. He listened to a lot of jazz. So I got a lot of that influence from my dad at a very young age. But like I said, my brother was 18 when I was born. I was in 76. So he was already, yeah, Ralph was 18. So he's the one, like him and my other brother, James, are the two guys that kind of influenced me, because I was always around them. They were pretty much like, taking care of me and always around me. So I got to listen to a lot of that stuff at that time. And I learned a lot. And then, when I grew up a little bit more, me and a lot of the friends that I had growing up with, we got into like Metallica and Pantera and Megadeth and Sepultura. We listened to all that stuff. So, and we listened to Motley Crue. We listened to I remember when Guns N' Roses first came out.
I still listen to all that shit.
So we listened to all that stuff, man. So a lot of that influence is in my music more than anything. And it took me a while to start listening to some newer stuff, and then finally, I listened to a lot of the mainstream stuff like Nine Inch Nails and Tool and all those other kinds of bands. But I think us as a band, well-rounded, we've got a good range of what we all grew up with, because it's all been something different and something new. So it's been pretty good.
Something to draw from when you have that many influences.
Yeah, it's a lot of influence. We have influence from a lot of different areas, and the new stuff that we're starting to write now, we're going to start using that influence to get even more into what we're doing. And
I'm trying to bring in my Cuban Afro pop style.
So we just, we're lucky to have met each other and be in the situation that we're in right now. Every band out there is struggling. Every band out there is trying to make something happen. Every band out there is trying to be bigger than the next.
Right.
It's all about
It's just the matter of the guys that have the heart and the dedication to keep going on and doing it. So we're getting there, and we're working on it. This guy is the one that keeps this train rolling
When
and
shit
keeps it
gets
moving.
hard, people quit. It's the people that don't quit that get somewhere with it.
Right. Now, how about your biggest rock star moment?
Biggest rock star moment, Jason.
Biggest rock star moment.
Probably be that time in Japan.
That would be
girls
every moment.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say this, man.
It's every moment. Jason's a walking rock star moment.
Biggest rock star moment.
Did it involve a donkey?
Time in Tijuana. It involved mescaline and donkeys.
I was probably playing here in Austin at a place called Antone's with an old band I was playing with called we've always usually had pretty good draws and played, we were playing with a big band here called Vallejo at the time. So we were pretty much getting bigger at the time, and always had always had chicks there, man, all the time. I always say I never got in this for chicks, like we say, but I had this girl just kind of take me from the stage directly backstage and have her way with
you
for a good 30 minutes backstage at Antone's, which is like upstairs in the green. The green
I think it would have been a
upstairs.
funnier story if she pulled you off stage to give you a summons.
Yeah, right. But that totally threw me off guard. Something that I'd never really done anything like that random or anybody like come up to me that. So I don't know. That was a pretty good time for me, I guess. It was a rock star moment.
Cool.
I'd still have a hooker's ass in Vegas.
We already mentioned that. Yeah. Apparently, I'm not supposed to do that before the gig.
No.
And he's also supposed to switch to female hookers.
Yeah. Apparently, I have to use.
That would help. Yeah.
What? Just don't look down.
So now, do you guys have any Spinal Tap moments you want to talk about?
Oh man,
I
Paul has the best Spinal Tap moment out of all of us.
Yeah, I was telling Taz the other day. I was playing a show down in Houston at this club called Last Concert Cafe, and with this band called The Defenders out of Austin, which is kind of like a pop rock band. And the stage is about 5 feet off the ground, and they have a huge backdrop behind the stage, which is basically just a cloth backdrop and nothing behind it. So I'm back there, and I'm getting on my drum kit, and I lean backwards, and there's nothing back there to support my weight, and I disappear from view. I fuck backwards off the stage, 5 feet down onto my ass in the pitch blackness in the back there, where there was like glass bottles and rebar and fucking cinder blocks and shit. And fortunately, I didn't hit any of that stuff directly. I was just a little banged up. So I laid back there for a second, and everybody in the front's going, "What the fuck?" And as soon as I got up, went right around the side of the stage, climbed the stairs, and threw out the horns, and kept on going, man. Got back behind, kept on going. So yeah, that was it. Fell off the stage, disappeared. And it's on video somewhere, too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So watch your backdrops, guys.
I'm trying to think of my Spinal Tap moment. I don't know that I have anything that can top Paul's. Paul's is pretty good. I don't know if I can top that one.
Well, that last gig, Brent had his balls and dick hanging out accidentally.
Purpose.
Oh, sorry.
That's not an accident. I do that on purpose. It's an octopus. That's right. And I use my balls to make it look like gum.
He's got very long balls.
Yes, very long. I'm trying to think here, man. What was my moment for me? Oh, there's been so many gigs over the years. I don't know the one that really stands out.
I'd be right back.
Oh, well, we had the band I was in had a Spinal Tap moment. It wasn't my moment, but it was my drummer's moment in a sense that we got to the gig, we got all our gear in the bar, and we went to go set up because it was our turn to get ready to play, so we're loading up on stage. My drummer gets all his stuff set up, and he goes to reach for his cymbal bag only to realize that he'd left it at home. And we're like, well, how are we going to play this gig? So he asked every drummer at the bar there, can he borrow their cymbals? And nobody would do it. And this one guy goes, I'll let you borrow my hi-hats and one cymbal. And we had a gig like that for like 45 minutes where he had one cymbal and hi-hats. So that was a very interesting show. And it was he was struggling back. I'd look back, he was so mad and he was so embarrassed that he forgot got his own cymbals. But as for me, I think the only moment I had was I think we started again. I was in a band called Mo Nasty back in Phoenix. This was the last major band I was in Phoenix, and we did a gig, and we started off the show. First song in, I break a string, and I'm the only guitar player in the band, so it's not like I can stop and let the other guitar player, do it. It was like as soon as that string broke, my guitar was a floating bridge. So it was completely out of tune, and I had to I normally all I do is I would just go grab my back guitar and play, but for some reason the drummer we had at the time just decided to completely just stop playing, and so here we are trying to start the gig off, and he stops playing, and so we all had to stop. And I switched guitars, and I was just like, man, shit. This is going to set the night. So I just got on the mic and said, let's try this shit again, shall we? And we kicked off the rest of the show, and I'm babying the guitar. I'm playing like, don't break a string, don't break a string. And so that was probably it for me, I think.
I got two more Spinal Tap moments real quick. First one was when I was playing with a metal band, a prog rock band back in Houston in the 90s called Regime. And I had borrowed somebody's kit, double bass Yamaha kit, and he had duct tape on the heads, and so the right bass drum beater starts to get stuck to the duct tape. It's starting to wear through, so I couldn't use that kick anymore. So I had to sit side saddle and play the left bass drum only, like Lady Godiva or something. But you imagine, I'm sitting like sideways playing a double bass kit because I can't use the right bass because of the tape that's on there. So yeah, don't put tape on your bass drums. The other one would be when...
So you're saying if I snuck into your house and put duct tape on your drums, you'd be upset?
I'd quit.
You quit? What?
Real quick was when I was playing up in at Clicks in Dallas with a rock band.
Moments do you have?
Yeah, this is the singer. Our singer got real drunk, man, and he was like falling down on stage. He fell onto the guitar player's rig and canceled his sound and all this kind of crazy stuff. And
awesome.
Yeah, right. And then after that, he got pissed off and kicked the side of the drum riser and broke his toe on stage. Yeah. So that's pretty Spinal Tap-ish.
Jason, do you have any Spinal Tap moments, young man?
Not that I can think of. I'm sure there's plenty, but I can't think of anything right now.
I don't know that we've had any Spinal Tap moments in this band.
Well, we're going to have to create one.
I guess not really a Spinal Tap moment, but I played with this blues band called Joe Hell from here. They played here in Austin. The guy was from Montreal, Canada. Our van broke down. We were driving down to the valley to play. So that's about 350 miles south of here. So we had a good gig going on down there, and van broke down, couldn't get it. We had to get, a drummer, a bass player, guitar player, all our gear, and a PA, and get in a car and get all three of us going. So I had like this little four-door Oldsmobile something, and we actually got a guitar rig, a bass rig,
all that shit in the car?
A decent amount of drums in there, a PA, the stands. The guitar player played 3 guitars. He took all 3 of his guitars. My bass was on the dashboard, and then all fit in the car, and we drove 350 miles south and played the show.
Shit.
Yeah, that was a pretty hardcore, but that worked.
Oh, shit.
Yes, we did.
Can't stop the blues.
Gotta please the people with the pain.
Now, the next song I want to play is One Man Army. What can you guys tell us about that tune?
Wow, what can we tell about that song?
Oh, man, One Man Army is probably the first song that I've ever written lyrically and musically. And I can't even take all the credit for that. Brent had the guitar riff. We wrote the music. At the time, we were looking for a vocalist. I was just the bass player. And I was thinking about singing, so all the stuff that we had written just musically, I just started kind of like putting some stuff together. And one of my best friends that I grew up with, a guitar player, Eric Garza from the Valley, I sent him some of the stuff, and I said, man, just give me some ideas and help me out on this. So we would just go back and forth, and he'd record something, send it to me. I'd record something, send it back to him. And then before you knew it, he'd get something he sent me just kind of sparked an idea. I wrote the lyrics. We did all the parts. And then when I brought it to the guys, Brent figured out to do some other parts to it. And we kind of just mended that song together. And lyrically, like, I just wrote about, times that I was going through and people that have tried to hold me down, and that relationship were probably mostly my fault than anybody else's. And
That's bullshit.
at the time that a lot of time that I was angry and just had all this shit going on, this is a song of where I got to release a lot of that anger. So it's nothing really aggressive or anything like that, but it was written specifically for certain people, and it just makes me feel better every time I sing it and hear it.
All right, addicts, check this out. This is One Man Army from CrashKill 6, and we'll be right back. All right, addicts, we are back with CrashKill 6. Guys, how you doing?
We're good, man. We're real good.
Cool, man. Now, you guys are working on the CD. Is it released yet, or you still working on it? What's going on?
Yeah, let me kind of talk about that. So Rock Addict Radio already had a couple of our tracks in the mix. They had In for the Ride and they had Six Ways, and both of those songs were recorded and mixed probably nearly... Hey, I'm interviewing here, motherfuckers. Those were kind of recorded and mixed like, I don't know, probably close to a year ago, and we were planning on doing a full EP with the full engineering and the same kind of recordings you guys just got today, and in most band scenarios, shit happens, and we just kind of didn't get a chance to get them taken care of, and we struggled with some personnel issues this year, and we just kind of, Jason and I were not really seeing the band going anywhere, and all of a sudden Jason's like, hey, I'm going to log into our emails and our Facebook accounts and everything else, and he saw all these notes from everybody like, hey, what are you doing? We want you to do gigs. We want you to do this. It's a promoter, this guy, that guy. You know, everybody gunning for us out of nowhere. And it kind of breathed a little bit new life into us. And so he and I, Jason and I were like, well, look, if this shit's legit and everybody's really interested in us again, and if radio stations such as Rock Addict Radio and you guys are looking for more tracks, and all these other stations want more information and more tracks, well, man, let's go finish the stuff that we started so that we've got those done, so that now we can turn around working with Paul and record the brand new stuff we're working on. So the stuff you guys have in your hands right now is stuff that was meant to be finished, you know, several months ago, but we finally got a chance to get it done now. The plan for CrashKill 6 at this moment is to take the rest of the year, work on brand new material, nail it down, work on our next 5 to 6 song EP, which we're hoping to get done and produced and have ready for early 2013. We want to hit the ground running in February and close to March with a brand new EP for everybody to buy and start playing gigs like crazy freaks. So what you guys got in your hot little hands there is stuff that was a labor of love that we finally were able to complete.
Cool. Now,
We just picked it up today.
sweet.
It's like some of the first time I'm hearing some of the stuff.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Real cool.
I have to hear a little bit on the way over here, and then I'm hearing it again now, so it's kind of fresh to me.
Yeah.
It's that new.
Very cool. Now, what advice would you guys have for bands just starting out?
What advice do we have for bands just starting out? Oh man, that's always a tough question because it's just there's so many variables. I would say, you know, stick to your guns and don't let yourselves get pushed around. And when I mean that, I don't mean to be, you know, you don't want to be a dick to promoters and a dick to sound guys and a dick to everybody who's in the business. You know, if you're a young up and coming band, you want to make solid connections. Be friends with the sound guy, man. The sound guy is there to do everything you can to make you sound good. So, you know, become good friends with soundmen and become good friends with club owners. Become solid people with promoters and other people and other people in the business. But at the same time, you want to learn how to read when you're being bullshitted, because this business is a really cutthroat business, and when there's money involved, people that are involved with making the money will do whatever it takes to make sure you don't get paid. So you want to be able to be smart about it and not give too much away, but at the same time, put yourself in a position to always get callbacks for gigs and promotions and anything else that you can get yourselves involved in.
And don't wait for anybody to do shit for you.
No.
Do your shit yourself.
Don't wait for other people. If you're waiting on other people to get it done for you, you're going to get fucked.
We do everything ourselves, man. I do a lot of the promoting, a lot of the booking and stuff. Brent does all our online stuff, our website, our recordings. We do our own merch. We do everything is run through us. We run the band.
Stay in control of your shit.
Yeah, we're in control of everything. So, you know, we have people that help us out. You know, Eddie helped us get on with you. He's done a lot of great things for us. But the train drives from the heart, and that's us, man. And we don't let anybody deter us from what we're doing or change our mind from what we're doing. We do what we do. And if you're going to start off in a band and try and do something like that, you got to go out there and do it, because nobody's going to just show up to shows. And most bands that know, they really know that it's hard to get people out, man. It's, you know, you never know never know when the right day is. And
yep.
I mean, you can have 100 friends and you'll be lucky if 10 get to show up, because you don't know who's working when, or, you know, who can make what nights. It's hard. But you got to keep pushing it. And the more you push it, the more you put your music out there and give the music away and let people listen to you and like it. And that's how you capture people on the show is. And then you got great people like you, Billy, and you also, what you guys are doing, because this is what's kind of keeping us alive. You know, yep. I'm able to message a lot of my friends today and tell a lot of people to listen in and get a lot of good people in there.
That's real big, because, you know, there's a ton of online radio stations, and they're all clamoring for listeners.
Right.
But when it comes down to the live gigs and stuff like that, it is really, really hard to get people to come see you. And there's a lot of factors to that. Some factors are, you know, people, the economics of it. People don't have a whole lot of money to go out like they used to, so they don't go out. They stay home. So they have to rely on shows like yours and online radio to get their entertainment, to check out live music and new music and in local entities. And without online radio such as your station and some other stations, you never get to hear bands that you've never heard of before. Because, you know, the national stuff, they're playing all the generated garbage that they know is going to make them money. So they don't care about, hey, I'm going to play this up and coming band that everybody likes, but they're at a local level, so fuck them, right? So we rely heavily on, you know, online groups such as yourself and other stations to help us get our music out to people that would never hear it before, you know?
Right. Now, are you guys on a label? Are you looking for one?
You know, we're not on a label. We are independent of our own selves. So we, you know, would we be interested in a label? Hell yes. You know, would the business side of it have to work for both us and them? Of course. You know, so you know, we're not turning down any opportunities that come our way. We're willing to listen to, read up on, and involve ourselves in anything that can help us get bigger, better, stronger, and farther.
Cool. Now, where do you guys see yourselves in like 5 years? What's the goal for the band?
What's the goal for us in 5 years?
Well,
To stay out of retirement?
stay out of trouble.
Actually, to be in retirement from our day jobs and doing this.
Yeah, doing this
Yeah.
all day and night, making money at it.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I mean, gigging, touring, making music, recording,
World
you know,
domination.
all the stuff,
Yeah.
doing all the stuff that it takes to like make it happen. You know,
Cool.
good to be able to sit back 5 years from now and go, yeah, remember that time we played Australia? Remember that time we played Japan? Remember that one time in the Svengali?
We've already divvied it out. Jason's going to be big in Europe. Brent's going to be big in the States, and I'm going to be big in Asia.
Dude, you're the size.
That's where I'm from.
He's bigger than it.
Are you kidding? I should be the guy big in Asia, dude. Come on.
You've already been to the big guy in Asia.
Yeah, I've been to China, and that was a fun experience.
The BMIC.
The company I work for sent me on a business trip to China for 3 weeks, and you know,
Atlas.
if anybody wants to know what I look like, I'm in the picture online where it says One Man Army and Defy. I'm the guy on the far right, and I'm kind of built. I'm built like a linebacker. I'm a big dude, and you go over. I went over to China, and the lady who runs our division over there. You know, in China, it's interesting. They're really, really big on health, and they're really, really big on massages and stuff. So she took me into this place, and I walked in the door, and this guy goes, "Oh, you big muscle!" Give me a pat on the back. I about lost my shit when that happened. I was laughing my ass off, and then I was getting the massage, and the person I was getting massage from, you know, they go basically, you know, pretty much almost your whole body. Well, grabbed my hands, and he was like, "This dude's got bear paws. They're gigantic." And so it just kind of brought back to earth, because like in the States, I don't really consider myself that big because everybody in the States is about my size. So when you go over there and they're not used to that, it's just an interesting experience overall.
Cool. Now, where can the listeners find CrashKill 6?
www.crashkill6.com.
I was going to say in my patio right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you go, www.crashkill6.com. And if you want to purchase any music or any shirts or anything, we have links on there. We have links on our homepage. We take PayPal, you know, which obviously means you can use your credit card or your PayPal account. We have an iTunes account up there. Now, the 3 songs that we've sent to you today, and Billy, I just sent you another one here about 10 minutes ago. They're not up on iTunes yet. So if you're interested and you want them, just send us a message, and we'll see how we can hook you up through the site. But those will be posted probably here in the next month or so.
Cool. Now, do you guys have any upcoming shows you want to talk about?
No.
Actually, no, we don't have any shows to talk about. We're working on it, man. We're working on a lot of things right now. We're more focusing on 2013 and booking as much as we can, kicking off South by Southwest as best we can.
That's what we want to do.
That's here in our hometown, so that's something that we really need to push forward. We never really put the emphasis on it before. Just, a lot of bullshit that's gone on with the band in the past couple of years of just trying to get things right. I think we're finally at the spot to where we're getting to the right point where we're going to start doing way more than we've ever done. We're trying to make 2013 as busy as possible. We will be playing pretty much everywhere we possibly can. We're looking at other, mid-level tier bands that are doing pretty well right now and trying to get on with them. Working on just a bunch of things that we can, we've always kept our opportunities open for everything. So we have a lot of good opportunity coming our way. So we're just trying to keep the best we can. And like I said, 2013 is a year we're working on. So
we are open to any and all opportunities.
Yes. So as of now, we probably play a couple of local shows here the rest of this month. We're working on possibly adding another member to the band and writing a whole new set of music, something new and different, and using a lot of the influences that we talked about earlier and mixing a lot of the old with the new and coming up with a whole new scheme of our style of what we have grown into, what we're starting to become as a band.
I'm going to start watching nothing but Soul Train and try to influence ourselves. A Soul Train marathon. That's what we need.
Well, we've been playing about once a month. Wouldn't you say? We've been playing about once a month.
Yeah.
And gigs kind of find us. The right gigs. We want to do them. They're not going to cost us money to go on the road and stuff like that.
We'll play with
anybody. They'll get us exposure.
We got to play with Head PE about a month ago.
Yeah.
Which is
and they played at the Insane Clown Posse Fest.
You know what's crazy? We did that show in Houston with Head PE. 2 days later, they came to Austin and played.
Yeah.
We were on that gig. We should have been on both. That would be
Different
crazy. Different promoters, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, cool, guys. Now, last song I want to play is another one you guys just sent me, Mindfuck.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about it?
Jason,
It'll fuck your mind.
Well, what can you say about
Mindfuck
this?
was written about at that time based off just some things that I was going through, man. I was having a difficult time trusting people that were around me, and most of all, trusting myself. I just went through this really weird time, and I just felt like I kind of lost myself because I got brainwashed with so many things of outside sources and not through my own, what my belief. I just felt kind of weak inside, and I just kind of listened to everything that was going on around me. So I just noticed that a lot of people just drift through life, man, doing what they're told, listening to what the media tells them, listening to what other people tell them.
They're sheeple.
Just telling them how they should be living and not really you living the way you should be because you believe in it.
Don't let yourself get mindful.
So we just kind of left it at that. So this song is basically is written about people trying to mindfuck you. It's about you just having your own set of fucking balls and just getting up and actually doing what you want to do because you want to do it, not because you heard something or somebody's trying to persuade you or whatever reason, man. It could be relationships, it could be music, it could be your job, it could be anything, going to church, it could be religion, it can be anything. Anybody can take the song and turn it into what they want to, but we all get mindfucked in very many different ways, and a lot of times you don't even know what's happening to you. And before you know it, you're lost and you've fallen, and the song's about just not doing that and trying not to take any shit from anybody.
Should write our next song called Skullfuck.
Well, cool. Well, guys, I want to thank you for calling in tonight. You guys been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, anytime, Billy, man. You just let us know and we'll come back.
Great. Definitely. You guys are always welcome back here. You guys want to take us into the last song?
What's that?
Do you want to take us into the last song?
Yeah.
All right. Guys, you're listening to CrashKill 6, latest international smash on Rock Addict Radio. This song's called Mindfuck. Kick it.
Rock Addict.
Rock Addict Radio.
With Billy Metal.